3 summers ago, on the Tennessee River outside of Decatur, Alabama, I watched an old man catch 19 catfish in under 2 hours. No rod holder, no sonar, no $400 setup, just a beat-up spinning reel, a folding lawn chair, and something he dropped in the water before casting. I had $200 worth of fresh-cut bait in my cooler. I went home with 4 fish. He almost filled his bucket. Before he left, he looked over at me and said, "Boy, you're fishing the hard way." He didn't tell me what it was. Not that day. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the bell. What this channel puts out is exactly the stuff the industry spends millions trying to make sure you never find out. That old man's name was Earl. 81 years old. Grew up fishing the Tennessee River, the way his daddy and granddaddy did. His family didn't have money for bait shops. They made everything themselves. And somehow, every single time, guys like Earl outfish everyone around them. Spent 6 months after that tracking down 3 other fishermen cut from the same cloth. One in the Mississippi Delta near Yazoo City, Mississippi. One up in the Ozarks on the White River in Arkansas. One down near Lake Okeechobee in South Florida. Different states, different fish, different water. Same result every single time. We ran an actual test at Pickwick Lake, right on the Tennessee-Alabama state line. 2 boats. Same stretch of water, same time of day, same weather conditions. One boat ran store-bought punch bait and commercial catfish attractant. The kind you see advertised everywhere, around $18 a jar. The other boat used the old recipe Earl eventually shared with me. After 4 hours, the store-bought setup pulled 7 catfish. The old recipe, 26 catfish. 7 to 26. Same lake, same afternoon, same species. And here's what got me. Those 26 fish weren't caught in deeper water or from some secret spot. They were caught close to shore, in spots the other boat had already passed over and written off. The fish weren't absent. They just weren't responding to what was being thrown at them. This kind of knowledge didn't come from a tackle manufacturer. It came from river families who fished to eat. Ozark families who treated their recipes like heirlooms. Black fishing communities along the Mississippi Delta who passed these formulas within the family for 3 generations and never once saw a reason to share them with a bait company. Creek Nation fishermen in Alabama who never needed a catalog product to bring fish to the surface. They all landed on the same core formula, coming from different directions at different times. That's not coincidence, that's chemistry. We're living in the craziest era of fishing. Never before has there been so much technology, so much information thrown on the internet. And yet a ton of fishermen keep going home with barely anything to show. Frustrated, not understanding why some guys always fill their cooler while they just take pictures of the water. What if the strategies that the most experienced fishermen never talk about in public are exactly what's missing from your fishing trips? Those invisible adjustments in reading water, choosing spots, picking bait, and making decisions that never show up on YouTube videos, but completely change results on the water. That's why the ebook High Level Fishing was created. A practical, straight-to-the-point guide where you discover the pillars that actually make a difference and learn to apply, step by step, the same strategies used by the fishermen who consistently catch the most. This isn't another shallow material repeating obvious tips. Here you'll truly understand how to think like a high-level fisherman, how to read your environment, better choose your spots, adjust your techniques, and prepare for each outing intelligently, significantly increasing your chances of catching more fish in less time. Download it now through the link pinned in the first comment. Heads up, this special offer from $99.90 for only $14.92 is available for a limited time and can come down at any moment. Now, what Earl was actually dropping in the water. 3 ingredients, all of them available at any Walmart or Kroger for under $4 total. And the main one? Chicken liver. Not fresh. Not the kind you buy that morning. Fermented. Left to break down in a specific way, at a specific temperature, for a specific amount of time. Sounds like you're doing something wrong. Turns out, you're doing something exactly right. Here's what actually happens when you drop this in the water. Catfish have roughly 10 times more taste receptors than a human. And those receptors aren't just in the mouth. They run across the entire body. Every inch of that fish is actively tasting the water around it, reading chemical signals the way you'd read a road sign. When chicken liver ferments, the proteins break apart into free amino acids, specifically L-serine, L-alanine, and betaine. These compounds hit feeding receptors in fish the same way the smell of something grilling hits you when you haven't eaten all day. It's not a choice the fish makes. It's a biological response it was wired with long before lure companies existed. The lateral line handles the rest. As the bait dissolves, it creates a scent cone that drifts downstream, a chemical trail with micro-vibrations that fish can detect from 15 to 20 feet away. That's why you count to 45. That's the window. That's how long it takes for the signal to reach the fish holding in the area. You're not waiting for luck. You're waiting for chemistry. Here's exactly how to make it. You need 1 pound of raw chicken livers, 3 cloves of garlic. Crushed, not minced, not chopped, crushed, because crushing releases more sulfur compounds than any other prep method. And half a teaspoon of anise oil. Grab it all at any grocery store. Total cost, roughly $350. Step 1. Put the livers in a Ziploc bag. Seal it. Leave it somewhere warm, a garage, outdoors in the shade, for 48 hours. Do not refrigerate. You want controlled breakdown to begin. Step 2. After 48 hours, drain a small amount of the liquid, then mash the livers with the crushed garlic until you have a rough paste. Don't blend it smooth. Texture matters. It affects how the bait disperses in current. Step 3. Add the half teaspoon of anise oil and mix by hand. Anise adds a scent compound that mimics the distress signal small bait fish release when threatened. Predator fish are hardwired to respond to that signal. Step 4. Roll into marble-sized balls and wrap each one loosely in a small piece of mesh or old pantyhose. This holds it on the hook and controls how fast it dissolves. Slow release means a longer-lasting scent trail. What you don't use, seal and freeze. It stays effective for up to 60 days. Want to push it further? 2 add-ons that work well with this base. Garlic powder, not garlic salt, powder. Mixed into the paste, it creates a secondary amino acid release wave about 20 minutes after the bait settles. Good for long sessions where you want to keep activity going without constantly recasting. Fish sauce, the kind in the Asian food aisle at any grocery store. Pure fermented amino concentrate. A few drops intensifies the whole signal without changing the texture of the bait. Now, here's something worth thinking about. Why isn't this in every bait shop in the country? Because it costs $3.50 to make. And Bass Pro, Academy Sports, every big tackle retailer sells commercial catfish attractant for $17.99 a jar. That jar has petroleum-based binders, artificial scent compounds, and food dye. Fish hit it, sometimes, but it's engineered to smell convincing to you in the store, not to trigger the specific chemical receptors that make fish feed like they can't stop themselves. There's no margin in telling you to buy chicken livers, so they don't. When you use this, cast, drop your bait, and count to 45 before you move anything. Let the scent cone build. Best windows are dawn, 5:30 to 7:30 a.m., and dusk. On the Tennessee and Mississippi River systems, Catfish go hardest in that late afternoon dusk window through the summer months. Down near Lake Okeechobee and along the St. Johns River in Florida, early morning before the water temperature rises is where you want your line in. Channel catfish and largemouth bass respond the strongest to this formula. If you're targeting crappie, cut the anise in half and add a small pinch of vanilla extract instead. Different species, different receptor trigger. One mistake that kills the whole thing. People drop the bait and immediately cast right on top of it. That disturbance spooks whatever started moving in. Drop, count to 45. Then cast to the edge of the scent zone, not the center of it. Click now. Get your access to high-level fishing, and let these strategies start transforming your next fishing trips. The link is in the first pinned comment. When you come back from the water applying what you've learned, come back here and comment, "Caught more." That's your commitment to your growth as a fisherman. And maybe it's exactly the step that separates the stories you hear from the stories you're going to start telling. Picture your next trip out. The guy set up next to you is running $18 punch bait from the shop and getting nothing. You drop $3.50 worth of fermented liver, count to 45, and your rod bends. He's going to ask what you're using. You can tell him. Or you can smile, keep your eyes on the water, and let the fish do the talking. Guys like Earl had this figured out before bait shops existed on every corner. Before there were algorithms telling you what rod to buy. Before anyone was selling you a solution to a problem they helped create. That knowledge almost vanished, because nobody wrote it down, and the industry had every reason to keep it that way. Subscribe and hit the bell. Next video goes further.